talk about that report that you might have heard about today, a leaked government report recommending getting rid of the legislation that regulates unfair dismissal. It's a private report commissioned by David Cameron. It argues that the move could boost economic growth, but union leaders have criticised the proposals. In a moment, we'll talk to the Shadow Business Secretary, but first, let's talk to Daniel Naftalin because he's a specialist in employment law at Mishcon de Reya. Good morning to you. Among other things, this report says that incapable staff in companies are simply being left to coast along. Is that your experience? What practical experience have you had of that?
Well, the practical experience we have is advising companies day to day in managing difficult staff situations. Our experience is that where good managers are managing these situations well, they can get rid of employees, and the law in this area is actually quite balanced. I mean, we at Mishcon de Reya believe it's all about finding the fair balance between employers and employees, and unfair dismissal in particular, I think, is an area where there is some balance. We understand the needs of employers to manage their businesses effectively, and we understand that they feel they're overburdened by employment law. But in unfair dismissal, there is a means of getting rid of unproductive employees. It's just a question of following the procedures that exist. Some of those procedures pre-employment can be a little bit burdensome, and I think that the employment tribunal process can be extremely burdensome, and that's where costs are incurred and management time is taken up and a lot of stress is caused to businesses. But I'm not sure that these proposals, though they are still a long way from becoming law, are going to be the right way to resolve the problem.
And so a very quick word on exactly how the system does work so viewers understand it. If you're running a company, you think someone's not up to scratch, what is the process by which they go about telling that member of staff that they're just not up to scratch?
Well, as things exist at the moment, employees don't have unfair dismissal rights until they've been employed for a year. If they've been employed by a year and they're underperforming, then employers have to go through a reasonable process. And if they go through a reasonable process which will involve a series of warnings, help for improvement advice, then ultimately they